Oregon's legislative session has come to a close, and the legislature failed to pass one of its loftiest goals, a transportation bill worth more than $11 billion.
ODOT says it will now have to start laying people off next week to make up for its budget gap. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us here in the studio with more on this. So Thomas, what did lawmakers have to say about all this over the weekend?
Well, Drew and Stephanie, Governor Cotek says at the end of the day, the bill was too big, too complicated, and the legislature ran out of time. The bill was pushed by Democrats to shore up funding at ODOT and other agencies. It laid out a plan to raise money through things like a gas tax hike and a new pay-per-mile tax system for electric vehicles. The Republicans pushed back on the bill, calling it the biggest tax hike in state history. On Friday, it died.
Their best idea was to crush Oregonians with more costs and more taxes. We're talking about an agency that needed a few $100 million to balance, and their response was a $12 billion transportation tax.
Republicans say they made several attempts to negotiate a balanced budget for ODOT, but say Democrats rebuffed the ideas. They add negotiations were more challenging because the transportation bill wasn't unveiled until a few weeks ago, though Democrats argued it's just not that simple.
You know, I said in my closing speech that sometimes when things look easy, it's not that the thing was easy, it's that you put in a massive amount of work to get the thing done before it actually gets done in the legislature.
Now, of course, this has big repercussions for ODOT. In a statement Saturday, ODOT says they broadly shared that if the legislature did not address this shortfall during the legislative session, deeper cuts would have to start in the 2025-27 biennium. They add next week, ODOT will begin the layoff process by the end of July. Hundreds of positions will no longer be at ODOT. And as a result, ODOT says Oregonians will also now have a less reliable transportation system. The agency says it'll do everything it can to keep its resources in place to keep Oregonians safe.